Justin, what does a series win like this mean?
Oh, we know how hard it is to win in India. I've known that since I've been playing cricket for Australia. So for us to come here and win this series, particularly after being 2-0 down, is a brilliant achievement. And also winning the T20 series was a huge achievement as well, because we know white ball cricket in India, they've been the kings of it over the last little bit. So to have this achievement means a lot to all of us.
Can you talk us through what the chat was like at 2-0 down? Because all the players that we've spoken to have all just talked about how much belief there was and how, the fact you were close in the first two games. What was the message after that second loss?
Well, I've actually felt from at the first ODI in Australia that we're getting closer and closer. I mean, that series, we lost it 2-1, but in the end of the day, it's probably Kohli and Dhoni, two of the all-time superstars of the game, probably just got them over the line. So I sensed then we were moving in the right direction. And even though we had our chances in the first two as well. So just I've been sensing for some time, as I say, we're moving in the right direction. So just felt that, and that's what we kept talking about, that we just couldn't. It's been a long summer. We said before this, I think it was 7-all going into this game for the summer. So we used that as a bit of motivation, I guess. So to end up a really, really, really tough summer against a very good Indian side and have won 8 out of 7 games, drew 1 and a no result. So it's a pretty good achievement, I think.
Usman Khawaja's scored more runs than Virat to be the leading run scorer. Pat Cummins, the leading wicket taker this series. Can you just talk a little bit about those two and some of the other guys who really impressed you?
Yeah, really impressed with Usman. He hasn't played much one-day cricket for Australia. He's probably got the temperament for one-day cricket because he's pretty relaxed, but he hits the ball in a lot different areas as well. So I imagine he's quite hard to set a field to. But again, I've said it through the summer, what a credit is to him that where he's come from to where he is now, with the way he transformed his body, the way he's running between wickets. That catch tonight was really important. I dare say that there's no way that 10 months ago, 12 months ago, Usman Khawaja would have 200s and a 90 and still be fresh as a daisy and field like he's fielded. So great credit to him. Pat Cummins and Jai Richardson, such young cricketers, but so talented. So it's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Did you see it coming from Usman? I mean, as you sort of touched on, I think it was 10 kilos or something that he dropped. Like when you first became coach and had a chat with him, did you see that sort of fire in the eyes?
Well, I remember sitting in my driveway at home actually, probably a few days after I got appointed to the role, and he was one of the first people I spoke to, and he wanted to know about where he's at, white ball cricket. I just said, the reality is I don't want you to get fit to tick a box or to please me or Pat Howard at the time or Queensland cricket or Australian cricket. Do it so you can run harder between the wickets and you can field better, because we know you're talented. And we did think he could do it because we selected him. He scores hundreds. We've talked about in our top 4 having batsmen who can score hundreds, and he's one of those guys in Australian cricket who can do that. So he was rewarded for it, and he's paying us back in spades at the moment.
How about Adam Zampa? He have 11 wickets in the series, but a lot of them were batters and big wickets as well. What's he done to go to the next level?
Oh, well, huge. I think he got Dhoni out twice, he got Kohli out twice, he got Rohit Sharma out tonight after having him drop twice as well. So, again, confidence is an amazing thing. He's developing. He's worked very hard with Sri. We talked about him developing a turning leg spinner as well, because in T20 cricket he tends to bowl top spinners or wrong ones and attack the stumps. You saw probably his 3rd or 4th last ball today, he bowled a ripping leg spinner, and that's huge for him. Again, like all our players, he's showing development, and that's all we can ask for. We asked for improvement, and we're seeing that. So, and he's being rewarded. We're being rewarded because of it.
What's it mean for the group to be able to keep a continuous side? You're unchanged for Pakistan. How's it on the group that you can have that nucleus go from series to series?
It's been one of our philosophies we talk about, and it's a really danger time in Australian cricket for a lot of individuals because of World Cup selection. The trap is, and it's really normal for humans to be thinking about getting selected. And I've said throughout, if we keep winning, selection usually looks after itself. If you put the emphasis on yourself, you tend to put too much pressure on, and you don't go well and we don't go well. So that's what I've been so pleased with this group of players. It's been about we. We've talked about we. We've talked, hopefully you've seen it. I've seen it in the media. We talked about what we're doing, not just what I'm doing. And that's really important. So to keep the boys together, it's really hard to change winning combinations. We've got a few selection headaches coming up, obviously, but if we keep winning, then the guys will be putting their best hand forward.
I was just going to say,